Hey everyone, welcome back to Easy English Conversation, the place where English feels natural, simple, and real. I'm Emily.
And I'm Jack. We're really glad you're spending a few minutes of your day with us.
Hey, can I ask you something?
Of course. What's on your mind?
So, yesterday I was listening to some people speaking English at a cafe, and I noticed something interesting.
Oh? What did you notice?
They kept using a phrase again and again.
Which phrase?
By the way.
That's a very common phrase in English conversation.
Yes, and the funny thing is, they used it so naturally.
That's because native speakers use it all the time.
But honestly, I realized something.
What's that?
I understand the phrase when I hear it, but I'm not always sure when to use it myself.
That's actually very normal for English learners.
Really?
Yes, because, by the way, doesn't have a direct translation in many languages.
Exactly. That's why it confuses me sometimes.
Don't worry. Once you understand how it works in real conversations, it becomes very easy.
That sounds reassuring.
So let's start with a simple idea.
All right.
By the way is usually used when you want to add extra information.
Extra information?
Yes, something that suddenly comes to your mind during a conversation.
Oh, like when you remember something important?
Exactly.
Can you give me an example?
Sure.
I'm listening.
Imagine we're talking about our weekend plans.
Okay.
Then suddenly you remember something.
Something related?
Maybe, maybe not.
Interesting.
Then you say, by the way, did you return my book?
Oh, that's like adding a new thought.
Exactly.
So it's like saying, oh, I just remembered something.
Yes, that's a great way to think about it.
That actually makes the phrase much clearer.
Good.
Let's imagine another situation.
Go ahead.
Two friends are talking about a movie they watched.
All right.
One person says, that movie was really exciting.
Okay.
Then suddenly the other person remembers something.
And says,
By the way, the actor in that movie is coming to our city next month.
perfect example.
I can see how naturally it fits into the conversation.
Yes, and that's why native speakers love using it.
It makes conversations feel relaxed.
Exactly. It allows the conversation to move naturally from one idea to another.
You know, I think I've heard it many times in movies too.
You probably have.
But when you don't know how a phrase works, you just hear it and forget it.
That happens to many learners.
But now I'm starting to notice its purpose.
Great.
So basically, by the way introduces something extra,
Yes,
something that wasn't part of the main topic.
exactly.
Let's imagine a small real-life scene.
All right.
Two coworkers are talking in an office.
Okay.
One of them says, "Did you finish the report?"
The other person replies, yes, I sent it this morning.
Then suddenly they remember something.
And says,
By the way, the manager asked about you earlier.
that's a perfect example.
Because the new information is slightly different from the main topic.
Exactly.
Another thing I noticed is the tone.
What about it?
When people say, by the way, their voice sometimes becomes a little lighter.
Yes, because it often introduces something casual.
Not always serious.
Right.
Sometimes it can even introduce something funny.
That's true.
For example,
Go on.
two friends are talking about studying.
Okay.
One says, I studied for 5 hours yesterday.
That sounds intense.
Then the friend smiles and says, by the way, you left your notebook at my house.
That would surprise the other person.
Exactly.
And that surprise is part of the conversation's charm.
Now I understand why this phrase is so common.
Yes, it keeps conversations flowing naturally.
It's almost like a small bridge between ideas.
That's a beautiful way to describe it.
A bridge between thoughts.
Exactly.
You know what?
What?
I feel like this phrase will make my English sound more natural.
It definitely will.
Because real conversations don't always follow one strict topic.
Right. People jump from one idea to another.
And by the way helps with that jump.
Perfectly said.
Let's try another quick example.
Sure.
Two friends are walking together.
Okay.
One says, "I'm really hungry."
The other replies, "Me too,"
Then the first person suddenly remembers something.
and says,
By the way, there's a new restaurant near the station.
"Great example."
That phrase naturally introduces the new idea.
Exactly.
The conversation moves smoothly.
And that's the beauty of natural English.
You know, the more we talk about this phrase,
What do you realize?
the more I notice how powerful small phrases can be.
That's very true.
Sometimes one small phrase can change the entire flow of a conversation.
Exactly.
And by the way is definitely one of those phrases.
Absolutely.
I'm actually excited to start using it in my conversations.
That's the best way to learn.
Practice in real life.
Yes, the more you use it, the more natural it becomes.
All right, let me try one.
Go ahead.
We're talking about English learning.
Yes.
Then I suddenly say, "By the way, I found a really interesting English podcast yesterday."
Perfect usage.
Really?
Yes, that sounded completely natural.
That feels encouraging.
Good.
Because learning English should feel exciting.
Not stressful.
Exactly.
And phrases like this make conversations smoother and more enjoyable.
I think our listeners are starting to see how useful it is too.
I'm sure they are.
You know, sometimes conversations move in very unexpected directions.
That's true.
You start talking about one thing, and suddenly the topic changes completely.
Yes, that happens all the time in real life.
And that's exactly where a phrase like, "by the way," becomes very useful.
Absolutely.
It helps introduce a new thought without making the conversation feel awkward.
Exactly. It feels natural.
Let's imagine something.
All right.
Two friends are sitting in a cafe.
They're having coffee and chatting.
One of them says, "I had such a busy day today,"
The other person looks curious.
and asks, "Really? What happened?"
Then the story begins.
"Yes, I had 3 meetings and a long presentation."
That sounds exhausting.
Then suddenly the person remembers something.
And says,
"By the way, I saw your cousin yesterday."
that's a perfect example.
Because the topic changes naturally.
Exactly.
The conversation moves smoothly.
And it doesn't feel strange.
That's the beauty of conversational phrases.
They guide the flow of conversation.
Another interesting situation happens when someone suddenly remembers something.
Yes, that's very common.
Imagine two friends walking in a park.
They're talking about movies.
One says, "I watched an amazing movie last night."
The other asks excitedly, "Oh, really? What was it about?"
Then the first friend starts explaining the story.
Sounds interesting.
But suddenly, something pops into their mind.
And they say,
"By the way, I forgot to return your book."
that sounds very natural.
Yes, because people often remember things in the middle of conversations.
Exactly.
And this phrase helps introduce that thought politely.
Right.
Sometimes it can also introduce exciting news.
Oh, yes.
Imagine two friends talking about their weekend.
Okay.
One says, "I think I'll just relax at home this weekend."
The other nods
Then suddenly they smile.
and says something unexpected.
"By the way, I just got tickets for a concert."
That would definitely surprise the listener.
Exactly.
And the phrase prepares the listener for new information.
That's why it sounds so natural.
Yes.
Another moment when people use this phrase is when they want to remind someone about something.
That's very common.
For example, imagine two roommates talking.
All right.
One of them says, "I'm going to the supermarket."
The other nods
Then suddenly they remember something important.
and they say,
"By the way, could you buy some milk?"
that's a perfect real-life example.
Because reminders often appear in the middle of conversations.
Exactly.
And this phrase introduces them politely.
Right.
Sometimes it can also introduce exciting news.
Oh, yes.
Imagine two friends talking about their weekend.
Okay.
One says, "I think I'll just relax at home this weekend."
The other nods
Then suddenly they smile.
and say something unexpected.
"By the way, I just got tickets for a concert."
That would definitely surprise the listener.
Exactly.
And the phrase prepares the listener for new information.
That's why it sounds so natural.
Yes.
Another moment when people use this phrase is when they want to remind someone about something.
That's very common.
For example, imagine two roommates talking.
All right.
One of them says, "I'm going to the supermarket."
The other nods,
Then suddenly they remember something important.
and they say,
"By the way, could you buy some milk?"
that's a perfect real-life example.
Because reminders often appear in the middle of conversations.
Exactly.
And this phrase introduces them politely.
Right.
Another interesting thing is the tone.
Yes, tone changes everything.
If you say it with excitement,
It sounds like exciting news is coming.
and if you say it calmly, it feels like casual information.
Exactly.
Let's imagine another short situation.
Go ahead.
Two students are talking after class.
Okay.
One says, "The lecture today was really interesting."
The other replies, yes, especially the last part,
Then one of them suddenly remembers something.
and says,
"By the way, the professor changed the exam date."
that would definitely catch someone's attention.
Yes, especially students.
Exactly.
Now imagine a more casual situation.
All right.
Two friends are texting each other.
Okay.
One message says, "I'm watching a new series tonight."
Then another message arrives.
By the way, have you seen the trailer for that new movie?
Even in texting, the phrase works perfectly.
Yes, because conversations move quickly between ideas.
And this phrase helps those transitions.
The more examples we see, the more natural it feels.
Exactly.
It's like a small conversational tool,
A tool that makes speech smoother.
and more natural.
Yes.
I think learners will start noticing this phrase everywhere now.
Movies, podcasts, daily conversations.
Exactly.
Once you notice it, you realize how often people use it.
And once you start using it,
Your English sounds more natural.
you know, sometimes the funniest moments in conversations happen when someone suddenly changes the topic.
That's very true.
You're talking about one thing, and suddenly the conversation goes somewhere completely different.
Yes, and nobody even feels confused,
Exactly.
because small phrases help that transition.
And one of the most natural ones is, "by the way."
Absolutely.
Let's imagine something interesting.
All right.
Two friends are walking down a busy street in the evening.
There were lights everywhere, people talking, cars passing by.
One friend says, "I'm really tired today,"
The other looks concerned.
and asks, "Long day at work?"
The first person sighs a little.
"Yes, very long. I had meetings all day."
That sounds exhausting.
Then suddenly the person stops walking for a moment
Why?
because they just remembered something.
And they say,
"By the way, your brother called me earlier."
that would definitely get someone's attention.
Exactly.
And the conversation changes direction immediately.
Yes, but it still feels natural.
That's the beauty of conversational English.
People often think conversations must follow one topic.
But in real life, they rarely do.
Exactly.
Thoughts appear suddenly.
Memories pop into your mind.
And phrases like "by the way" introduce those thoughts smoothly.
Let's imagine another situation.
Go ahead.
Two friends are sitting at home watching TV.
Relaxing after a long day.
One says, "This show is actually really funny."
The other laughs.
Yes, the actor is hilarious.
Then suddenly, one of them remembers something.
And says, "By the way, did you lock the door earlier?"
That would make the other person pause.
Exactly.
Because now the conversation shifts from entertainment to something practical.
And it happens smoothly.
Yes.
Another interesting moment is when someone shares unexpected news.
Those moments can be exciting.
Imagine two coworkers talking during lunch.
All right.
One says, "I think I need a vacation."
The other smiles.
"I feel the same way."
Then suddenly, one of them says something surprising.
"By the way, I might move to another country next year."
That would definitely surprise the listener.
Yes, and the reaction might be something like,
Wait, really?
"Exactly."
So the phrase prepares the listener for something new.
And sometimes even something shocking.
Yes.
Another common situation is reminders.
People forget things all the time.
Exactly.
So they remember them in the middle of a conversation.
Imagine two roommates talking in the kitchen.
One is making coffee.
The other is checking their phone.
Then one says,
I think I'll go for a run later.
The other nods.
Then, suddenly they look up and say,
By the way, the electricity bill arrived today.
that would definitely change the mood.
Probably not in a good way.
True.
But again, the phrase makes the transition natural.
Exactly.
Another thing I noticed about this phrase,
What's that?
it often makes conversations feel more relaxed,
Yes, because it sounds casual.
not formal.
Exactly.
Let's imagine a lighter situation.
All right.
Two friends are chatting online.
Okay.
One message says, I'm thinking about ordering pizza tonight.
That already sounds good.
Then another message appears.
And it says,
By the way, have you tried that new pizza place downtown?
that's a perfect use of the phrase.
Because it introduces a related but new idea.
Exactly.
Another funny situation could happen between classmates.
Tell me.
Two students are studying together in a library.
Surrounded by books and notebooks?
One says quietly, I hope the exam isn't too difficult.
The other whispers back, same here.
Then suddenly, one of them remembers something important.
And says,
By the way, the exam is actually tomorrow.
that would definitely create panic.
Exactly.
The other student might suddenly look shocked.
And say, wait, tomorrow?
Moments like that happen in real conversations.
Yes, and they make language learning fun.
Because language isn't just grammar.
It's real human interaction.
Exactly.
The more you observe these small phrases,
The more natural your English becomes.
and phrases like, by the way, make conversations sound authentic.
Just like real daily life.
You know, the more we look at real conversations, the more we notice something interesting.
What's that?
Small phrases can completely change how natural someone sounds in English.
That's very true.
And by the way is definitely one of those phrases.
Absolutely.
It's simple, but extremely powerful in conversation.
Because it helps speakers move smoothly between ideas.
Exactly.
Real conversations are rarely perfectly organized.
Right. People remember things suddenly.
They add new thoughts.
They change topics.
And phrases like, by the way, make those transitions feel natural.
Let's imagine one more real-life moment.
All right.
Two friends are sitting in a park on a quiet afternoon.
The weather is nice and they're just relaxing.
One of them says, I really needed a peaceful day like this.
The other smiles.
Me too. This week was exhausting.
Then suddenly something comes to mind.
A small memory appears.
And the person says,
By the way, your package arrived yesterday.
that would definitely catch someone's attention.
Exactly.
And just like that, the conversation moves to a new topic.
But it still feels natural and relaxed.
That's why this phrase is so useful.
Another moment could happen at a family dinner.
Everyone is talking and laughing.
Someone says, the food tonight is amazing.
Another person agrees.
Yes, it tastes wonderful.
Then suddenly one family member remembers something.
And says,
By the way, we're planning a trip next month.
that would immediately create excitement.
Exactly.
People might start asking questions.
Where are you going?
How long will you stay?
And the conversation becomes lively again.
Moments like these show how powerful simple phrases can be.
Yes,
They help conversations feel natural and spontaneous.
exactly like real life.
Another interesting situation could happen at work.
Tell me.
Two coworkers are finishing their tasks for the day.
One of them says, I finally completed that report.
The other nods with relief.
Great, that project was stressful.
Then suddenly, one of them remembers something.
And says,
By the way, the manager wants to see you tomorrow morning.
that might make someone slightly nervous.
Yes, maybe a little surprised, too.
But again, the phrase introduces the information smoothly.
Exactly.
This is why listening to real conversations is so important.
Because you start noticing these small expressions.
And once you notice them,
You begin using them naturally.
that's how fluency grows.
Not just through grammar rules.
But through real conversational habits.
And by the way is a perfect example of that.
A simple phrase that appears everywhere.
In daily conversations,
In movies,
in podcasts,
and even in text messages.
the more you hear it, the more comfortable it becomes.
And eventually you start using it without even thinking.
That's the moment when your English starts sounding natural.
Exactly.
So the next time you're having a conversation in English,
Don't be afraid to add small phrases like this.
they make your speech smoother and more expressive.
And they help conversations flow naturally.
Language is not just about words,
It's about connection
about sharing ideas.
and about communicating comfortably with others.
The more you practice,
The easier it becomes.
and one day you'll realize something surprising.
What's that?
Speaking English feels completely natural.
And that's a wonderful feeling.
Absolutely.
Well, this conversation has been really interesting.
Yes, it has.
And hopefully our listeners learned how to use by the way in everyday English.
If you enjoyed this conversation and learned something useful,
Don't forget to support the channel.
you can like the video
Share it with your friends who are learning English.
and subscribe so you never miss future English conversations.
We'll be back soon with more natural English dialogues.
Until then,
Keep practicing
keep learning.
and keep speaking English with confidence.
See you next time.